let's get started. It is 5:02. We're opening up Gunter City Council, regular meeting. It is April 3rd. We are in the Public Safety Building at 105 North 4th Street. All notices have been posted. We do have a quorum. We have Dave missing and Wade missing. But we have a quorum, and we will get started with the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Sure. Our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we invite you into our presence tonight, Lord. We pray for protection for this country. We pray for wisdom and knowledge at all levels of government. And we just ask that you be in the midst of this meeting as we deliberate important things to the residents of Gunter and surrounding areas. And we continue to pray during these bad weather times for all the men and women that served in the emergency services. We thank you for all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We gotta practice that. We're like all over the place on that one.
I know now. Sign down.
Should I say it every day?
Yeah.
Somewhere I say
Somewhere.
That's what I was fixing this up. It's
We are going to open up agenda item number 1, and that is for our director. Y'all want to join us?
I'm sorry.
Director of Parks and Public Services, Adam Adams. Would you come and give us our update?
Sure. Just a couple things. There's some new stuff, but we'll wait for that to the 17th. But on tonight, it is just we had A and B as we had 2 pre-construction meetings last week, and that is for Fox Brent Trace. Estimated time that is for the panel replacement in the bridges on Fox Bend, and so start time approximately less than 30 days. So by the end of this month. And then pre-construction meeting for the Woods driveway transitions. Those should be the first week of May. And I'll be reaching out to the Woods to coordinate with them as far as that process. So there's not any issues because obviously there will be driveways affected. So we'll coordinate with that with the HOA. And I've already talked to the one of the HOA board members on that. Street signage, starting Monday this week. We didn't do it because of weather. But we'll be installing approximately about another 30 poles and stop signs. Every time we touch a sign, we're going to change the pole out no matter what. So that'll be in the east side. No, I keep messing that up. The west side of downtown.
Right.
And it'll be the west side, and then we will be doing the east side immediately following that. And then we're going to catch the streets of the remainder streets would be like the Autry, McConnell, Preston Glen, that area, and then we should be done with the downtown next. Coming after the poles are address signs.
I have a question.
Sure.
Adam, on Fox Bend Trace, will there be any closures or disruptions as far as
it's a
people
half
traveling?
lane. It's a half lane,
so they'll be able to get around.
Yeah, we'll be. I mean, whenever I do a job, within all the affected areas, we put up door hangers as well.
Good.
And I've already talked to residents who I guess they've got some internal Facebook group over there. They've all been talking to each other, so they're all pretty much aware of it.
Okay, good.
The last one is storage issues for streets in the fire department. And I don't know who else looked at it. I know Alan's seen it, and I know William's seen it. So all of our stuff is in that little white building, which we're using really as a giant storage unit. So it doesn't work well operating out of it because it's got so much stuff in it. The building behind the water tower, when I first came here, that was to be budgeted for a demolition. It's $28,000 to $30,000 to demo it. We didn't pull the trigger just because the money was allocated elsewhere. What we're going to be seeking now is to move forward on letting the fire department basically use that building, our old building, as a fire training, and they're going to destroy the building. My guys they're going to destroy it, so it's a work exercise, and then we'll put it in the dumpsters, saving us the money. There will be some labor costs, just some heavy equipment costs, but it'll be, $20 an hour as opposed to the $28,000-$30,000. But what we're also asking is, I do have some pieces of equipment in there. We're wanting to purchase 3 one-time cargo containers, so that'd be relatively new cargo containers. Put them immediately on the other side, the north side of the fire station, in a row. And the fire department they have no more room either. It's affecting
They need storage.
Yeah, it's affecting their storage. So we're wanting 1 storage unit for streets, and then they're wanting 2 storage units. So 3 altogether, stacked next to each other. We would gravel in that whole section. So the grass under it, so it's all gravel. But that's the direction we're looking for doing. It will be less than what it would cost to demo our building originally, which was the $30,000. You're looking at about $15,000 for the storage units, and probably no more than $4,000 for all the gravel we're going to use. We're going to bring it into a little road base too, but bring it into our parking lot as well behind City Hall. But that is the plans currently.
And I love this because Captain Cameron came over and Adam approached me just a few days ago and said, hey, what do you think about this idea? And I'm like, that's a great idea, because if fire can use that building for their drills, and they can cut it all into pieces and practice, I don't know, whatever they do, practice, set it on fire, put it out, whatever. Like that car, have y'all seen that car back there? So they've practiced getting people out of the cars and things like that. It's a great solution.
And they're going to get rid of the one back there, the beat up,
that'll be gone.
really eyesore back there. Where the long range goal is to clean up the yard. At some point, we'll one day want a fence between us and the residents on the back side there, but one thing at a time.
Yeah, I can help you out with the containers.
Okay.
Well, let them know, because they can go ahead and purchase them. They don't need authorization because it's in their budget.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, as far as how close we are in budget, if we would need an amendment, but I'd forgotten about the rocks and the gravel. We'll have to fill that in. And then eventually, I guess we need to talk to Forney Fence too, because we'll have to fence all of that off so that it's, secured from
Yeah, I
the
can
public.
look at containers. The containers run, like I said, they're roughly $5,000 a piece for a one-time use container.
Yeah.
And they're pretty big. Was it
If
40
we
foot?
separate
40 foot, 40 feet.
We're able to separate them and put a roof structure over the top of them.
That's what the fire actually wants
We
to
can
do.
store some of the outdoor equipment in it so that we don't have to worry about the sun taking it off.
We're going with a taller cube, which is the 9.6.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
That's all I have.
Thank you for getting together and doing that. I think it's a great idea. Solves a couple of problems. Did you finish the drainage? I interrupted you and asked some questions about that. So
Yeah, I'm sorry.
the drainage.
I forgot that at the bottom there. Drainage RFQ. So, is that today? I started early.
Yes.
That was
I
this
oppose
morning.
8 a.m. meetings in the future.
Yeah, I got here at 8:30.
Don and I,
His door was
Don and
closed
I were the
heard
ones
them
in person.
meeting.
Everybody else wasn't quite here yet. I was like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So that's all right. We had donuts. So we had our meeting this morning. It was Eric and Don and myself, and then Jenny Prazak from Cobb Finley, and Candace. I don't remember Candace's last name. She's the engineer out of Houston. Ward for drainage. So we went through the 5 applicants, had about an hour and a half meeting, went through the 5 applicants, narrowed it down to 3. So we have 3 applicants we're going to pursue interviewing on April 15th. So in the original timeline I put down, we're trying to stick within that timeline. So I'll be issuing all the results of that meeting to the various firms that applied. And then we came up with various criteria, questions. It was a really productive meeting. So that's where we're at. Don gave us some more information on some of the stuff he had, some of the materials he had, but everything is moving according to schedule on the drainage RFQ.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Mayor Alderman report on agenda item number 2, general notifications. It's nothing really new. We kind of update that on our main meeting every third Thursday, but I will say on the burn house, because I actually got another email this afternoon asking about it, and somebody asked me about it yesterday too. So we had talked about offering to put a lien on, if he would enter into an agreement that we would go ahead and take it down, he wouldn't have to come out of pocket, and then we would put a lien on the property, and then he'd have to settle up when he sold it, when it changed. So we're at that point now. We had to go back in and add something to the contract. I asked Dietrich to email that. You've already signed it. We emailed it over, and he understands that he has till Friday, or that thing expires. And then we're gonna take it a different direction. So hopefully, he will take us up on the offer, and if we can do that, then it's just a matter of calling them up and saying, get started. We'll have to get that fence taken down through the HOA, so I'll handle calling them on doing that. And then, hopefully we can get it done. I'm hoping Monday, Tuesday, they can start working on it. So, number 3, let's move to regular agenda, discuss, consider, and act upon approving the MDD bylaws. We did make the changes to these. Courtney, do you mind just saying, we just made a small change.
Yeah, the only change that we made was to change the language. Hang on, let me get to the page.
On the members.
On on officers and council as members. So is there anything else?
So just the qualifications. I'm trying to look for them. I have them all go. It's the same as what the state requires, and then we added, where is it?
On the change of that I was talking about is in
Yes.
section Article 3,
2,
Section
3.
5. An employee, officer, or member of the council who is a board member may not serve as an officer of the district board of directors unless no other member is ready, willing, and able to serve in such office.
Right. Which is the case right now. It is. I thought there was. No, that was just an Article 2 one.
I think it was Article 2, Section 4 is the other one that I saw.
Victoria actually made these changes,
Oh, okay,
so, because,
that's true.
yeah, so I don't know, she may have made the change there.
I'm pretty sure that was Article 2, Section 4.
What does that say?
That's
That's just vacancies and resignations. I thought it was 3 with qualifications, but I'm not seeing it, because I think William had asked, we wanted to enter something that just basically said that a council member could be on the board, but it would be a last resort if we couldn't find anybody to put in the seat. Is that correct? Isn't that what we talked
Yeah,
about?
we were gonna have they would just be the lowest ranking person on the board.
Yeah,
If-
okay.
If they had to be the secretary.
If they had to
because-
be.
Because they needed, because we couldn't function and they would do that. If we had a
Okay,
secretary.
then that satisfies what we needed.
Yeah, it's not specifically in here, but I think it's good enough.
Okay.
You can always change it later if it turns out to be an issue, but
Right.
they're not written in stone.
So that was the only change that we talked about last time.
Then let's adopt it. I'll move that we adopt the new bylaws as presented.
As presented, I got William with the first, okay, Cindy with the second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, that's unanimous, 3-0, that motion carries. We'll go to number 4. I discuss, consider, and act upon appointing Jessica Dunn to the Gunter Municipal Development District, MDD, for place 1. Jessica, would you like to introduce yourself?
She is here.
Yeah.
Do you like come up there?
Yeah, you can come on up.
Sit over my deck. So, good evening. Hi, everybody. I hate turning my back on people when I talk, so I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, I promise. So, I'm Jessica Dunn. I've been a resident here in Gunter for almost 2 years. I am currently the Chief Philanthropy Officer at Costa of Collin County. I've been in the nonprofit world for 20 plus years, I just realized, which is scary. But I'm here. My mother, I also am on the Gunter Youth Association board as their secretary. I'm with the PTO at the high school and the middle school. I have a sophomore son and a 6th grade son, which is scary to say. And so just excited to be here and thank you for the opportunity to serve in this role. So do I see if anybody has questions or what do I do?
No, do y'all have questions?
Do you have questions?
So it's funny because, is your family coming later?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yes.
so she asked me,
They're
do I bring
baseball.
my,
I was like, I don't know, do they come? Do they?
the funny story is, the reason she asked that is because you've done that 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
We came up.
Originally, she was going to be a place on the council when we were trying to reset that board back in December.
Yeah.
And they just showed up 3 times. We didn't get it done.
And getting those teenage boys dressed up and they're like, we're not doing this
Yes.
again.
She's like,
I'm gonna promise this time
do I
it's
bring
real.
them? I'm like, I think you're safe this time. Yeah.
Third time.
Yeah.
I know, I was like, oh, I
That's
promise
right.
guys, just you look nice, I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so do I have a motion
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept.
to appoint? Okay.
Yep, appoint.
Alan with the first, Cindy with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's 3-0, motion carries. Welcome, Jessica, to the MDD. You will be in the next meeting.
Thank you.
Number 5, discuss, consider, and act upon the removal of Cindy Davis from the Gunter Municipal Development District, Place 4. So, it sounds weird to sound.
So,
Sorry.
I have a problem with this right now because right now we don't have a full board on the MDD, so I don't think there's any reason to remove me at this point. Once we have a full board, sure, if we have enough people volunteering and everything, sure, that's great, but they need me right now. And they need me as secretary right now unless Jessica wants to take it over. But I don't see any reason to remove me at this point.
Any discussion?
Let's just table it till the next meeting, see who
Yes,
else
and
applies.
that's
Falls
falls
waiting,
into the
they aren't
bylaws that
here.
we just accepted, so table it at this point.
Okay,
I
so
I mean, is it really?
tabling it,
Well, yeah.
we need to start really working on
Is this
parliamentary terms.
Is this
Tabling
something,
it means it just
but-
sits there.
is this something that we need to address on an agenda, or is this something that just happens?
No, because if the council would have to vote to remove, so it would have to be
Okay,
in an open setting, so.
okay.
Yeah, so you can table it to a date certain.
To a date certain.
I mean, table's not technically the right term, but it's what everybody uses, so
Yeah.
Right,
I don't argue with people
I
about
know.
that term. So your next council meeting,
we're gonna postpone
Postpone to the next
Is April
council meeting,
17th.
and hopefully we have.
is April 17th, but
to
does
April
that
17th.
give you,
Well, it should give people enough time to apply and see how many applications we get.
Well,
I
and
think
that's
there was
true.
something else we were waiting on. Probably not. So, yeah, table you'll
So-
just need a motion and a second to table it.
Postpone to April 17th meeting, is that what you mean?
So, yeah, are we gonna follow proper parliamentary procedure, or are we just gonna keep doing it the old way?
I know, it's starting to bother me.
Okay,
So we're gonna have a workshop and at least we're gonna start using some.
I'll make a motion to move forward with the agenda item and remove Cindy from the board and then we can discuss it after, if anybody seconds it.
Okay, so that would be proper.
That's proper
what we're gonna
procedure
say,
to put
that's
it on the
proper.
table
Yes.
and
Kicking you off.
discuss it and then decide what you wanna do next.
Right, so you have to have somebody that says, yes, I want to move forward with discussing this. The second one motions, and then you open it up for discussion. So I've got William with the first
For the,
for the removal of Cindy Davis,
Which
And
is
so-
technically the procedure before you can get to table
before you
it.
can discuss it, before you can table it.
I will second it.
Okay, so
Now we
William
can
with the
talk
first,
about it.
Alan with a second. Now we open it up for discussion.
How many people do we have on the board now
5,
with Cindy?
6 with Cindy,
What size is the board supposed to be? 9?
7.
7?
7,
I thought it was 9.
7.
7.
What is, okay.
Yeah, we never increased it.
So we have 5.
And Cindy's the 6th.
Oh, so we don't need Cindy. Listen,
No, we need
I'll
7.
call for the vote. Just take her off.
Well, she's gotta call for the vote, but do you want more discussion about it?
Yes, I don't think it's necessary this time. We don't have a secretary. We have a meeting tonight without a secretary. It doesn't make any sense if we don't have people standing up to be on the board and to fill out the board. This is the whole point. The whole point of having a council member on the board is to fill out the board. And if it's not full, then why would you remove somebody?
It can operate. It's good. It's got 5 out of 7. I know we're gonna have more applicants.
Well, we originally did it to get the quorum. That's why we decided that in the first place. And even with you, we still had to have Paul, audio and visual in to hold the meeting. So that's why we did it, is to have a quorum because it was absolutely necessary. So now without her, we've got 5, and I do have, we're gonna have probably 3 to 4 interviews before the next meeting. So that's where we stand right now.
So I move we table this until the next meeting.
Okay, so there's already a motion on the table.
A motion to
Right.
remove.
Okay, and now the motion to table is a superior motion that would need a second and a vote to continue.
Which I did. I seconded Williams.
Yes,
You
you
seconded
seconded
Williams.
Williams.
And a motion to table, are you seconding that?
So you seconded Williams. Are you withdrawing that motion to table?
No, because he can second both.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a matter of are we gonna move forward with the main motion?
I'm incredibly confused where the main motion is now.
The main,
Main motion is to remove Cindy from the
Is
board.
to remove.
and
We
it
do
is
need
now
to table it.
subsidiary to the motion to table.
Right. So we worked up, now we have to work back down.
Right, so
Waiting
now,
date.
so we've got a vote, we've got a motion and a second to
Yeah.
table to the next meeting. I'm assuming that's what you meant, April 17th.
Yes.
And so you need a vote on that motion. And if that passes, then the main motion is tabled until April 17th.
So then I have Cindy with a first to table, Alan with a second to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I think we can just go on with 5. 5's good.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. I'm not voting.
Yeah, it passed.
So
So
it-
it's
Oh,
tabled
We'll
to
table
the
to the
17th.
17th. Okay.
Yes.
Waiting date, need to wait.
That was a good exercise, because when we have our workshop, I have something very similar just like that. To teach you, you work up and then you gotta work back down.
You gotta
Climb the ladder and walk back down the
That's
ladder.
right. But it gets real confusing.
Yeah, it does.
So I'll just leave that in your hands to keep that as we're going, when that happens. Okay. So, number 6, discuss, consider, and act upon amending the interview process for city boards, commissions, and committees. So, I do want to start with this. I was asked to put this on, and in the past, we revisited this in October of 2023. And we talked a lot about this. I surrendered my authority to be a part of this because this is how I want it also. But technically, the mayor appoints, the council ratifies, and that's how it works. So what I was willing to do is to give up and share that responsibility for the appointment power because I wanted the chair of the board, the development director of the board, that's the person they're going to be communicating with, that's going to have to work with him, and then 2 council members to share in that decision with me. That would be 5 of us. So that's where we are right now. And I'm okay with that. I just want to, for the record, that is my appointment power that I'm giving up, and I'm happy to do it. So wherever we are right now, I don't have any opposition to this. I'm happy to do that if this is what you guys
So
want.
I put this on here to clarify our process for the city boards, commissions, and committees. I don't have it in front of me, I'm just scrambling for it. But basically, it says that we do all the interviews on the same night. And my experience over the last few months has been that that's been kind of impossible.
It is, and I think it's
So I just want to clean up the
Unnecessary.
language.
okay. I do. I think that's unnecessary. You're trying to gather, you got 5 applicants, you're trying to get them all in one night. First of all, I don't like being rushed. The whole 20 minutes at a time, that's all you get. Sometimes you have candidates that you need more time
Is
with.
there a motion to
We do need a motion.
Yeah, we need a
consensus.
motion to
To amend?
amend?
Make a motion motion to?
So I make a motion to amend it to remove the requirement of interviewing them all on the same night.
Okay, so I have a motion.
So if somebody wants to talk about that, then they would second it if they
Yeah.
want, if they want to hear more. So,
Right, and if you don't wanna talk about it, you don't say a word and then the motion
I'll
dies.
second, because I want to
Okay.
understand what the problem is. So currently, right now, it's, everybody has to
Can
be
somebody
interviewed one
read it?
day
Can you read them?
It does say that all interviews happen in one day,
in the
which,
ordinance.
by ordinance, it does.
I don't have it pulled up, but I
No.
can pull it up.
My book is back there, but, it does say that,
I'm giving.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
which, yeah, it's,
Well, I do
This is
remember
not
something.
a
I remember, I've
It's
done a
not.
lot of these interviews, and I remember,
people being lined up.
Yeah.
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 And you get, you might have 5 minutes with one, 20 minutes with others. You might need more time with somebody that you want more information from, you wanna know more experience or whatever. I don't like that you're limited, I don't like that, you tell the first person, here's the day, and you gotta come in on this day. I think it should be
For a
more
volunteer's
flexible
position.
for our schedule.
For example, Jessica, we had to interview her or y'all interviewed her over the phone because she
She's
was
out of
able to
town.
be here on that day.
Right.
And there's Micah was another one that was not able to be here on that day.
why don't we do it like other governing bodies do it? There's an appointment that gets made by the executive based on a recommendation from a committee that brings in names, and then they get ratified by the legislators. Why don't we do it that way? It seems to be a working way that works everywhere else.
Do you wanna know
Why do
what
we have to come up with a new?
And that's
idea?
kind of what we're
I
doing.
wanna hear
The
what ours
committee
says.
is the chair, the mayor, the 2 council members, and the director. That is the committee that does it. What we're saying is that she noticed the ordinance said that they have to be all done in one day. And what her point is that we're not following ordinance, which
Well, what's the ordinance say we have to do in one day?
Can you?
I've got it.
interview all applicants.
So, yeah, interview process for city boards, commissions, and committees, elected officials and groups fewer than would constitute a quorum of each of the applicable city boards, commissions, or committees will interview applicants. The chair of the applicable city board, commission, or committee shall be included. All group interviews will be held the same day. Each group will submit its recommendation to the city secretary. The applicants in receiving the most recommendations will be added to the next city council agenda for the city council review and possible appointment. All applicants considered for appointment will be notified via email within 2 business days following the city council meeting, during which the appointment to the city board, commission, or committees are approved by the city council.
So that just sounds like that, first of all, it's, why are we putting in an ordinance procedures for a committee to follow? And second of all, what's the rush?
It was because this was done when the attack was on me as mayor. Yeah. Wanted
We
this,
could define it as timely manner and
Well,
put a
get rid of it
limitation of.
altogether.
I would say get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Somebody applies at
Make
any
it a
time.
policy procedure and just remove section
And just
F
remove
from the
it.
code of
Okay.
ordinances.
Yeah.
I
agree.
move that we
mean-
remove that section.
Well,
from the
I'll draft an ordinance removing it, and when you pass that ordinance, you don't
Then
have to
it'll
have,
be removed.
But
this will be a
Yeah.
no action item.
Yeah.
Well, the motion and second was to amend it, and,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so we discussed it, and then what we'll do is no action and then bring it back.
Yes. we'll
Written
make a
that way.
motion.
Within
Yeah,
11
we'll
months.
make a
then we
motion
can
to
take
amend.
up that, we can take that up when it comes back. Because that just sounds like you're rushing.
It's so many
people
hoops
through
to go through.
For what?
For a
Is it like
volunteer.
fire, we gotta get somebody on before.
Oh, you wanna volunteer, cool, you gotta be here at this time, this date, and you gotta do
And
this
you get
and wear
20
that.
minutes, and you can only
You have
answer
to give a
these.
presentation.
We have to ask all of these questions, and you have to answer them. It's not a good process.
Appreciate your service.
Yeah. They're like, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
It didn't give you can't be very deliberative, you can't do research,
right.
you can't spend your time, trying to talk somebody into doing it.
And it's weird, everybody's sitting on the waiting room at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
That's weird.
I had some interesting conversations when I was in there waiting at the same time.
You did it a few times. Like
Just
7?
a few, yeah, 7, yeah, 6 or 7, yeah.
Okay. Number 7, discuss, consider, and act upon amending the organizational membership to allow members within our ETJ to serve on the park board.
Okay, I brought this one forward as well.
Are you making a motion?
I make a motion that we allow, that we allow, members within our ETJ to serve on the park board.
Okay, I've got Cindy with a first,
I second that.
Alan with a second, now you discuss.
Why? I've got.
You ready to vote? No discussion?
No, why?
Oh, okay, you're
I've
asking her.
got, well, there's been a lot of interest in joining the park board. We have, Adam, you have trouble getting people to join the park board?
Yeah, and I have a comment if the council wants to hear it.
Yes, I was gonna ask, because you're the director of the park board, so I'd like to hear it. How many seats do you have open right now? 5? You don't have a park board, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, but there's some issues, like adding some more seats would be good, but
Okay.
I just wanted to say from the ETJ standpoint, you know, if you were to ask me, if I could sit here, you want me to stand?
Just keep it clean.
Just talk.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
I would not open every seat. I would do like 2 or something. And one of the reasons I would say parks, it goes in line with your MDD as well. Because by the way, MDD can still fund parks or park acquisitions because it has the same as the DDCP. I also would say parks tend to be regional. To think that people outside your city limits don't use them, so there's a good coordination for parks to basically access some people with some ETJ. And as you, there's a business in town that we've talked with about hoping one day that person comes into the city. I just think there's some coordinated efforts with having a couple spots with the ETJ because they are so regional. The sports associations, there's no limitations on residency. And so you are going to have people from outside those areas using them. So
And it is a board that you're just wanting quality input.
It's an advisory board, right? It's not statutory?
Well,
Parks board's not statutory.
it's advisory, but there is some language in the park ordinance dealing with the board that I think at some point council, we need to have some discussion items on.
Yeah, we
To
talked
decide,
about that before.
Yeah.
Okay, but does that affect whether we can include people in a broader selection set?
Currently, it does not, the ordinance does not allow for outside city
Anyone
limits
outside of
in the
city.
current park ordinance.
Okay, so we don't need to amend the membership, we need to amend the ordinance.
Yeah, it's the ordinance. The ordinance does say residency is
Right.
required right now.
Right.
That is correct. I didn't have anything to do with this.
So like you could open it up for 1 seat
I
or 2
don't
seats or
know.
whatever.
How many are there?
Seven
Seven?
seats total.
So I would say 2.
Two of the 7?
Two-
or
two
make it
of the
two?
Two of the
Two
7.
members from the ETJ to be allowed on the board.
That could be.
Now the
Could
question
be.
is,
Not
do
that
they,
you're
do they have the
required.
ability to be officers?
Yeah, why not?
Is the second question.
Well, again, the
Again,
board,
it's
board's not
advisory.
statutory, it doesn't have any money, they're advisory,
Correct.
and you're getting input.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
anybody,
it's quality.
anybody wants to
input.
serve is great.
So I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
But,
I think it is.
this isn't a question of the membership.
It's just
well,
amending the
It's
ordinance.
amending the ordinance.
Right. To allow those
Yeah.
2 seats or whatever we end up with.
So can we amend the ordinance, Courtney?
Yes.
So that's something we need to bring back as another agenda item.
So
with
let's
amended
do
ordinance.
take no action, and then you guys are thinking 2 for the ETJ? 2
I would
seats?
say even 3. I mean, there's 7 on there.
Yeah, why not?
3?
The
Up to
ETJ's
Up to 3.
roughly the same size as the city limits,
So you could-
square miles basis.
Right,
So
so
let's say 3.
Yeah, up to 3.
addition of the 3 ETJ
TK's the
members.
first
We'll make it
one.
up to 3 from the ETJ. That way, if we don't have anybody that applies in the
Right,
ETJ,
they don't have
Then
to.
you don't have,
Yeah,
you're not
2-3.
forced to do
I
that.
agree.
And TK's gonna be the first one, right,
She
TK?
probably
If we-
He's
will.
gonna be the first one.
You know, this could be moved.
I think
if we
Nancy
still
will be
have-
the first one.
True.
No, I just think it's a good, I fought for this. I think it's also goodwill to your outstanding citizens that live outside the city limits.
Well, we won't do interviews all in one day.
Yeah, that sounds smart. Okay, so discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing a funding agreement between the City of Gunter and the Gunter Area Chamber of Commerce. I had forgotten we still need to do this because you guys have been working on this so long. I totally did. We talked about it a ton of times, including, our budget workshop, starting last, May, June, July.
So you can call them.
So,
Are you calling a motion.
So, yeah, I'm opening this up. Do we have a motion?
So I'll make a motion that we authorize a funding agreement between us and the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, William with the first,
A second.
Alan with the second. Let's discuss.
No. Now tell us why we need it. Why we
I
need
will let Adam present.
I'll start it. I'm the president, vice president of the chamber are here, both of them, so you're welcome to speak with them. This was the funding category, to remind everybody, was community enhancement. It wasn't the budget. It was for the purposes of basically if we have an organization that's carrying out something of benefit to the public or is doing something the city would normally do or would like to engage in, but this organization does it better. And so this is a very specific funding agreement. It really, the library one is waiting on this one. So when y'all, assuming council passes this tonight, the library one will be coming at you fairly quickly.
Why is it contingent?
Well, it's not contingent, but I'm using this form.
Setting
Yeah,
precedent.
It's sort of the
using
precedent,
same
because
form.
this form does start out the sort of the preamble of talking about your that you have limited funds and you can only allocate them to so many organizations. So the two organizations that were targeted were the chamber and the library, but this is more specifically for fireworks.
This is the fireworks.
This is fireworks, and so just to let council know in this agreement, there is some language in here, reciprocal goodwill between the chamber and the city, what they're offering us, and then what the city will do for them. Primarily, what the city will do for them, though, is all related to the fireworks. From a staffing standpoint, a permitting standpoint, allowing them to use the park, allowing them to basically access some emergency services. That we're not going to bill them back for operating the 4th of July, the fireworks show, that we have to have those police officers something. So those are all included in this. We also, there wasn't an amount in here. I believe council could award the amount tonight. The amount budgeted was $8,500. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I think you missed a
I
digit.
did.
Last time
I jumped
remember,
down. I'm in two different agreements. I'm sorry.
there's a
The amount
decimal.
budgeted was 11,500. So 11,500, and fireworks. Their contract hasn't gone up in 3 years, so it did go up. We anticipated it would go up. The fireworks for basically the same type of display. It's a 20-minute display. Is moving to 13,500.
That's better than what we thought, though, because
We thought it'd be higher than that.
15.
We thought it
figured
might be higher.
17, didn't we?
We thought it'd be higher.
We estimated 15 at
Yeah,
first,
I was
and
thinking
then we
15.
got the numbers back in.
And we budgeted 11.5, and TK, you're gonna just go raise the money for the rest of it, or?
Not if you want it to be exclusive to the city, we have to pay the whole
Yeah.
13.
So the
What
thing.
do we, how much did we budget?
We were talking about 15 because that's what we thought it was going to come back when we have our budget workshops.
Yep.
That's what we were talking about.
But what did it actually ended up in the budget?
We were at.
We talked about all kinds of numbers in
We
those
did.
workshops, and
We ended up with.
It's a really good question.
Well, no,
No. So what we did was we put it together
What was like,
under one category for all of our contributions,
wasn't it like?
but it covered what we thought they would come with plus the library as well.
but we already allocated some money for the library.
No, not yet. Well, we put it.
did, we voted on it.
We talked about, we put it all in one lump sum, and then we said, this is what we're gonna do for the library, this is what we're gonna do for the chamber. And when we put that money together, we were assuming theirs would be 15-ish, but we didn't know for sure.
2 or 3 months back, we had a
Was
bunch
it
of people here about the
21, 22?
library, they were all, we had the public hearings, and we voted
Yeah.
on the statutory amount they had to have to be able to qualify to get their grant.
We did,
So we've already
It's like
allocated that
8,500
amount.
or something.
So
yes.
it seems like we ought to know what we can improve before we do it.
We did. Do you wanna,
I can give a little illumination here. So, what council originally budgeted during that budget, that the wild and woolly budget process. So when we were working on it, Deidre was working on it. So it was a moving number, but based on what council was passing.
Right.
So at the end of the day, no matter where y'all started, what money remained in that budget process for the chamber was 11.5. That Deidre did, she put in there.
It was.
Yeah, it was
It was.
11.5.
It was.
So so what I'm saying is if you budget more than 11.5 tonight, if council awards more, I just would personally say if you want to be the fireworks sponsor, in other words, if nothing else existed, you want the fireworks show.
Right.
If you weren't the fireworks sponsor, the contract allows for that, by the way, built that in if the city doesn't want to be, but then you're going to share co-sponsorship with somebody at some point who's doing it for, I would argue, $2,000.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say it's sort of perceived as somewhat the city's very involved in the event. So for 13.5, and I do believe in working on the library's contract, that money's going to be a little less than what was budgeted. I'm just going to say that now. So
Will it be 2,000 less?
Because I want to say that category was
I believe it.
21,000, and it was like 11.5 and 8.5, or 11.5, 12.5 and 8.5, something like that.
you budgeted more, but then when she ran the numbers, it actually went down. So
Right.
we were going off, this is actuals.
Right.
So it ended up being $11,500 is what was budgeted for. What was remaining in that community enhancement fund was 11.5 for the chamber. So
So if we don't want to share the limelight with anybody else on the marketing,
Right.
we need to
That's-
pony up $2,000 more.
that is what I'm politely trying to say.
Just want
Yes.
to get it out in clear language so we understand.
I'll
what
let
we're
I
talking about.
company do the
Which I think is
2,000.
good, and
I'll
look,
make
if
my
we're gonna
side
put that
bigger.
much into it, be the big sponsor. I mean, it's kind of our, I think it's probably smart.
Well, and I would, say that we probably need to edit this agreement to include that number in paragraph 2.4.
Just add it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funding agreement not to exceed whatever number you approve.
Right.
We'll put it in 2.4A1 and make it a 5.
Thank you,
5.
Courtney.
So,
What you gonna do,
Can I
William?
ask-
Am I getting free publicity for $2,000? I mean, my signs will be bigger. Getting the best deal here.
so we have on the table a motion to authorize a funding agreement, but we don't have the terms and conditions lined up just yet.
Well, they're in
Just
the
made a
agreement,
change.
but I would say in the agreement as amended to include a not to exceed amount of
Right.
whatever number you put in.
So what's the agreement having it right now?
Right now, it's the
13.5.
consideration is that the city will provide police and general staff services, safety lighting and barricades, city park and associated facilities, permit or related administrative costs.
Oh yeah, and that was my bad because the funding I didn't realize would be dropped in there as well because it could change in the future if the prices go up.
Now, we do normally have a contract with our fireworks person
For a
for
couple
at
of
least
years,
3
2 or 3
years.
years,
Yes. So, but normally it's a 3-year contract. With this one, this last one, it actually went 4 years because it started right after COVID.
Right.
And he just extended it a year for us. That doesn't mean that 3 years from now, it's not gonna increase.
And
Because
this is still 1 year agreement. So
it rolls
it's renewable, but
Yes.
Right.
it's 1 year. Automatically renewable, but.
And the hope is that we can do this, because the last contract that we had, or agreement we had with the city was signed in 2017. And so that's been in effect since then. Our hope is that we can come to a mutual agreement that's beneficial for everyone involved. mainly the community, but the city, the chamber, the community, to where we don't have to redo this every single year.
Yeah.
We don't have to. And that's why it was put in here depending upon the budget. If for some reason, say next year, if the city can't do budgetary, the full amount for the fireworks, that's where you would be a co-fireworks sponsor. And we do the fundraising for everything.
Where does it actually say 13,500 in here?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
That's why I said we would need to
So I'm
add
looking
the-
for it and I
add
can't
it.
When we had the
No, we had
discussions
it in
at
the
the
summary
budget
and
time,
it
we were
wasn't,
talking
didn't wait here,
about,
cause we
we
had to
would be
decide
the
that now.
sponsor for the fireworks. Now that we've got the number, that's.
Depends on what we
That
want.
was my bad, because I thought it was in the budget,
Yeah.
so I don't know why I just put it there
Yeah.
too.
It's
Um,
dependent upon what y'all decide.
We have a motion.
Do we have a motion to authorize a funding agreement?
We did,
You have a motion
yes.
to authorize the
it.
funding
Now you're
agreement.
discussing it, so now you say what you want.
So I'll make.
Well, we probably need an
With-
amendment to the motion.
I wanna move to amend it to include the actual
Yes.
not to exceed amount and then bring it back.
13,500.
Yes, of 13,500.
Okay, so that needs a second,
I'll second it. Cutting off my own legs here,
and that one needs a vote.
Okay.
You're cutting
So-
off your advertising opportunity here.
but
There you
$2,000 for everybody?
Right, so William with a first, Alan with a second, to approve it based on the amendment. This is the
To
amendment.
approve the amendment,
To approve
just the
amendment.
amendment.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
that's unanimous. And now,
Now approve the agreement.
we have to, do we have a motion to approve the agreement?
Well, we already made the motion.
As
We
amended.
just need to call for
They
the
As
vote.
made
amended.
a motion.
Yeah, so now they can vote on the main motion as amended.
As amended. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous.
This is great practice.
This is great.
We're gonna put me on
That's
this
why I
test
did it,
tonight.
that's why I didn't put the
I know.
money in
We
right
were gonna
there.
I was gonna do a workshop.
Good job.
We don't need one now.
And now we're just jumping right in. That's good. Okay. So, number 9, discuss consider action upon accepting the installation of a small covered pavilion to be located adjacent to the playground at Gunter City Park. So Adam, will you explain what this is?
Sure.
Do we have any guests? No? Do we?
Nancy,
Okay,
no.
it's Nancy, yeah. Okay.
Not another ocean container.
And,
This is different than what we've talked about in the past.
and I shouldn't say that, that's fine. I'd be excited, I know Nancy had an interest in the park board, that's just great, just throwing that out there. She does live in ETJ. This is the Gunners Ladies of Tomorrow. They're funding a shade pavilion. There really isn't shade at the playground unless the parent wants to get on one of the parts. And so they worked with the ag department at the Gunter High School to build the structure. It's won some awards. It's a small enclosed pavilion. I did have a picture, but I got it late. It's just the legs right now all done. So it's done by local students. The Gunter Ladies of Tomorrow gave the monetary contribution to them to do it in conjunction with I believe it's the ag teacher. Is it the ag teacher, Mr. Dillon?
That's where to go.
Dillon.
So it looks like we're.
And so they've constructed this, and then they've got a company to provide the concrete and the pouring of the concrete. I talked with Eric about the footing. I'm pretty sure I can get the engineered drawings for the footings. And so we're wanting to abut that to the north side of the playground. It's sort of a natural feature on the playground. It doesn't interfere with the master plan at all, and it would just be a nice element for the park. And it's a community element. The whole playground's a community build, so I think it fits in the spirit.
Is it iron or what is it?
Yeah, it's iron. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask Nancy.
I love that the kids built it.
It's beautiful, it's really cool. And it has 4 benches.
Oh, that's
They
awesome.
go with shelter.
And they're attached.
I mean, it won, they got first
That's
place in
So it's
the.
the spirit.
Everything in this world has to be bolted down.
It does.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, got a first with Alan, second with Cindy.
And all we're doing is approving having it installed.
Correct.
Yes.
It's it.
It's not gonna cost you any
Allowing
money.
it to be there.
No, my,
We get shade. What happened to all those trees that were supposed to be planted?
They're growing.
I want shade.
Well, we
Get shade
lost
out of
two,
these trees.
but they're out there. It'll be a while before they provide shade, like, kind of like Bruce.
Group sure
No.
not giving any shade.
Did you hear that?
What?
You're right, you shouldn't worry about it, you're gonna see it.
Wow.
But you're thinking about kids.
kids.
Yeah,
They're thinking
for the
about
children.
kids. Leave it to Eric.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got scammed on that tree. You're welcome.
You just gotta have to wait.
Okay, so any more discussion? I have a first and a second to approve.
It was worth it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's
Thank you.
unanimous. Number 10, discuss, consider, and act upon Senate Bill 2038 petition for lease from the ETJ for 11.4 acres located on McConnell Road. I received from Keith Smith on March 2020, or 21st, 2025.
I move that.
Second.
Okay, first with, to deny with Cindy, second with Alan. Anything? Or we can take a vote?
Well, if anybody's watching, those people who keep petitioning to get out, just keep in mind, you're not getting any services from us if you leave. Just want to be clear about that.
We're gonna start talking about that, because it's absolutely the truth. We can't afford to, keep serving
No police.
those who are not.
I mean, there's
Participating
there's a
contributing?
belief among developers out there that they can go into the wild, wild west and do whatever they want in the county, but
Right.
that ain't gonna happen either. So
No.
if they think that's what's gonna happen, just know what they're doing.
Call for a vote. Okay, so, all in favor of
Aye.
denying?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, 3-0. We'll move to number 11, discuss, consider, and act upon Senate Bill 2038 petition for release from the ETJ for 12.44 acres located at 1389 McConnell Road. Received from Strat Best LSC on March 21, 2025. I move we deny it. Cindy with a first to deny,
Second,
William with a second to deny.
same comments?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0, that motion carries, that is denied, and we are finished.
We are early.
I know, this is nice,
have
so
to.
we will adjourn at
People waiting on our spots.
5:54.